Hi, today we're going to be looking at why it's so important you brush your teeth by looking at the bacteria in your mouth before and after brushing. So we are now here first thing in the morning in the workshop before I've brushed my teeth, and we're going to take the first swab. But before that, roll the intro. Right then, starting off with the swab without brushing. This swab is then smeared across a sterile agar plate. We'll label this UB for unbrushed. Now time for a shower. And here I am clean and ready for the second swab. Once again, we take this swab and smear it across another sterile plate. This one we will label B for brushed. Now we need to prepare two control samples. First we take an unused swab and smear this across a third agar plate. This one we label C1 for control 1. The next control sample will not come into contact with any swabs and will just be exposed to the air. We label this one C2 for, you guessed it, control 2. We now need to give our samples some time to grow. Right, it has been 1 week since the swabs. Time to look at the results. As we take the lids off of the plates, we're met with quite the unexpected result. Let's take a closer look at these. We'll do this in the order we prepared them, so starting with our unbrushed sample. This one we would have expected to have the most growth, which at first it doesn't seem to. But if we look at it under the microscope, we see that there are many small colonies everywhere the swab touched, as well as a few larger colonies. Now let's move on to our brushed sample. This one grew far more than we expected, with only a small number of colonies. However, they are really rather large. This is quite surprising, so let's look at our control samples to see if we can figure out what happened to this sample. Let's start with control 1, which was contacted with an unused swab. This one, which should have had almost no growth, has a large amount of big colonies. These swabs were not sterilised in the lab and were used straight from the packet. This is not only a flaw in our methodology, but is really making me regret putting these swabs in my mouth. But at the very least, it does explain what happened to our brushed sample. Let's now double check control 2, the one which was only exposed to air. Now this is what we would expect to see from a control sample. All that is there are two relatively small colonies. At least this allows me to be confident that our plates were sterile and that there was nothing all that bad in the air. Well, if we learn one thing from this, it's to never put one of these into your mouth without sterilising it first. But in all fairness, this was not a test with reliable results. It wasn't under controlled conditions. So let's look at some of the academic research that's been done on this topic. Numerous studies, including the work of G. Betty et al. In 2017, have found a correlation between poor oral hygiene and heart disease. The idea is that as you breathe, the air travels through your mouth and carries bacteria into your lungs, where it's taken into the bronchi and into the bloodstream. Bacteria from the mouth has actually been found in atherosclerotic arteries. These bacteria can cause a reaction in your immune system, leading to inflammation of the blood vessels. This can then lead to heart attacks and other forms of heart disease. So please, brush your teeth. And sadly that does bring us to the end, but thank you very much for watching. Please do tune in next week where it'll be our St. Patrick's Day special and we'll be looking at why we have 4-leaf clovers. But aside from that, please do share, like and subscribe and carry on learning. Bye!